The check hit the table with a soft thud that echoed like a gunshot in my skull. $800. $100. For a dinner I hadn't wanted with people I barely knew, and now they were all staring at me. My fiancée Sarah's so-called best friends, their eyes gleaming with a mix of mockery and expectation. "Come on, Alex," one of them, Mia, purred, her red lips curling into a smirk as she twirled her wine glass. "Prove your worth. Sarah says you're loaded from that tech job. What's a little tab among future family?" The restaurant's dim lights cast shadows across their faces, turning their laughter into something sinister, like hyenas circling a wounded animal. My heart pounded, blood rushing to my ears, drowning out the clink of silverware from nearby tables. Humiliation burned in my chest, hot and unrelenting, as Sarah just sat there, giggling nervously, her hand on my knee under the table, not in support but in a plea to comply. I froze, my fork midway to my mouth, the overpriced steak suddenly tasting like ash. How had we gotten here? It started innocently enough. A celebratory dinner for our engagement, Sarah had said. She'd insisted on inviting her inner circle. Mia, the sharp-tongued influencer with a penchant for designer bags. Tyler, the gym rat banker who always eyed Sarah a little too long. And Lena, the quiet one who hid her venom behind wide-eyed innocence. I'd met them a handful of times, always feeling like an outsider, their inside jokes flying over my head like daggers. But tonight, as the bottles of vintage wine kept coming, ones they'd ordered without asking, they'd turned the evening into a gauntlet. "Alex, you're the man of the hour," Tyler had boomed earlier, slapping my back hard enough to jolt my spine. "Time to show us what you're made of." I'd laughed it off then, but now, with the bill staring up at me like an accusation, the laughter died in my throat. My mind raced, denial crashing against the reality. This couldn't be serious. Sarah wouldn't let this happen. We'd been together for 2 years, built a life in our cozy apartment overlooking the city, talked about kids and vacations. She knew I wasn't loaded. My software engineering job paid well, but after student loans and saving for the wedding, I was scraping by. Yet here she was, avoiding my gaze, her fingers digging into my leg as if to say, "Just do it, don't make a scene." Anger bubbled up, raw and unfiltered, twisting my gut. How dare they? How dare she? I wanted to flip the table, scream that they were parasites, but instead I reached for my wallet, my hands trembling. The card slid out, and as the waiter took it, Mia leaned in, whispering loud enough for everyone to hear. "See? That's how you know he's keeper material. Pays up without a fuss." The walk home was a blur of city lights streaking past like accusing fingers. Sarah clung to my arm, her heels clicking unevenly on the sidewalk. "It was just a joke, babe," she murmured, her breath warm against my ear, laced with the scent of Chardonnay. "They didn't mean anything by it. Mia's going through a rough patch, lost her sponsorship deal, and Tyler's always broke from his gym memberships. You know how they are." I pulled away, the cool night air slapping my face, but the fury inside me simmered, uncoiling like a snake. A joke. $800 wasn't a joke. It was theft wrapped in smiles and toasts. "Why didn't you say something?" I snapped, my voice low but edged with steel. She faltered, her blue eyes widening in that way that usually melted me. I didn't want to embarrass you. Or them. We're all friends now, right? Since we're getting married." That night sleep evaded me. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Sarah's soft snores beside me a cruel reminder of her complacency. Heartbreak seeped in, mingling with the humiliation, a toxic brew that made my chest ache. Had she always seen me this way? A wallet on legs, someone to prove himself? My thoughts spiraled. Flashbacks to her subtle hints about my salary, her excitement over my bonuses, the way she'd pushed for this expensive ring that stretched my budget. Denial whispered that I was overreacting, that love meant sacrifice. But resentment grew, roots digging deep. By dawn, as the first light filtered through the blinds, obsession took hold. They couldn't get away with this. Not them, not her. I needed justice, something that would make them feel the sting I'd felt. Multiplied. The next morning, over coffee, I played the part of the forgiving fiancé. "It's fine," I told Sarah, forcing a smile as I kissed her forehead. Her relief was palpable, her arms wrapping around me tightly. "I knew you'd understand. They're just jealous of us." But inside, doubt gnawed at me. Was I really going to do this? Plan revenge against the woman I loved? Her friends were easy targets. Mia with her fragile ego, Tyler's bravado masking insecurities, Lena's quiet complicity. But Sarah? She was the betrayal incarnate. As I headed to work, the subway's rumble mirroring my turbulent thoughts, I began to plot. Subtle at first, digging into their lives online, scrolling through Mia's Instagram where she flaunted luxuries she couldn't afford, Tyler's linked in boasting deals that screamed exaggeration, Lena's sparse profile hinting at hidden debts. Work that day was a haze. In meetings, my mind wandered to fantasies of justice, exposing their hypocrisies, turning their worlds upside down. But guilt crept in. What if I was wrong? What if it was just a bad night? I pushed it aside, focusing on the cold resolve building like ice in my veins. By lunch, I'd hacked together a quick script on my laptop. Nothing illegal, just public data scraping. Mia's credit score popped up from a leaked report. Abysmal. Tyler had a pending lawsuit for unpaid alimony. Lena. A history of petty thefts from her college days. Ammunition. But for Sarah it was harder. Her texts came in, sweet and oblivious. "Miss you already. Dinner tonight. My treat." Irony twisted the knife. Her treat with my money. That evening we met at a quiet bistro, the kind with checkered tablecloths and flickering candles. She looked radiant, her hair cascading in waves, but I saw the cracks now, the way her eyes darted when money came up. "About last night," she started, sipping her water. "I feel bad. Let me pay you back half." Half. The word ignited fresh anger, but I masked it with a nod. "No need. We're in this together." Dialogue flowed, natural on the surface, but laced with my suppressed rage. She confessed little secrets. How Mia had pressured her to invite them, how Tyler had joked about testing me. "It was stupid," she admitted, her hand reaching for mine. But in that touch, I felt manipulation, a subtle pull to forgive and forget. As days blurred into a week, the slow burn intensified. I started small acts of reconnaissance, following Mia to her auditions that were really coffee runs, noting Tyler's late nights at bars where he bragged about conquests. Inner conflict raged. One moment I'd imagine confronting them openly, the next darker thoughts of sabotage. Fear whispered warnings. What if I got caught? Moral qualms surfaced. Was revenge worth tainting my soul? But resentment won out, fueled by Sarah's growing distance. She spent more time with them, late-night calls giggling about girl stuff. One night, overhearing her on the phone. "Yeah, Alex footed the bill. He's such a pushover sometimes." Pushover. The word seared into me, turning heartbreak to obsession. By the end of the week, my plan coalesced. Not violence, that was too crude. No, something poetic. Financial ruin, exposure of their facades, and for Sarah, a revelation of her own complicity. I'd create a web of deceit, mirroring theirs. First, an anonymous tip to Mia's sponsors about her fabricated lifestyle. Then, a nudge to Tyler's ex about his hidden assets. Lena. A reminder of her past to her employer. And Sarah. I'd wait, letting her see her world crumble before the final blow. Guilt flickered, but cold resolve smothered it. This wasn't just revenge. It was reclamation. The tension built quietly. At our next group hangout, a casual bar night, I observed them like specimens. Mia complained about lost gigs. Tyler boasted emptily. Lena watched silently. Sarah leaned into me, whispering, "See? They're harmless." But her eyes held a glint, calculation. Hidden motives emerged. Whispers of an old flame between her and Tyler, Mia's jealousy over our engagement. Subtle foreshadowing in their laughs, their sidelong glances. My heart raced with anticipation, the pursuit beginning in earnest. As I lay awake that night, plotting the first strike, doubt resurfaced. Was this justice or madness? But the humiliation replayed, visceral and unrelenting. No turning back. The betrayal demanded retribution. The email pinged into Mia's inbox at dawn, anonymous and innocuous. A forwarded complaint from her top sponsor, complete with screenshots of her inflated follower counts. Bots, all of them. I watched from afar, sipping coffee in a cafe across from her apartment building, as she stormed out, phone pressed to her ear, her usual poise shattered. "This is bullshit," she screamed into the void, drawing stares from passers-by. Satisfaction coursed through me, warm and vindictive, but laced with guilt's sharp edge. Had I gone too far? No, I told myself, remembering her smirk at the dinner table. This was just the beginning, a slow unraveling. Sarah noticed the shift first. "Mia's freaking out," she said over breakfast, her brow furrowed as she scrolled her phone. "Some sponsor pulled out. Says she's faking her influence." I feigned concern, my hand steady as I poured her coffee. "That's awful. Any idea why?" Inside, my thoughts churned, denial fading, replaced by the thrill of control. But heartbreak lingered. Sarah's worry for her friend over me stung anew. As she hugged me goodbye, her perfume clinging like a lie, resentment hardened. How many times had she chosen them? The days dragged with calculated precision. Next was Tyler. A discreet message to his ex-wife's lawyer, attaching public records of his undeclared income, side gigs he'd bragged about online. By midweek, he called Sarah in a panic. "That bitch is coming after me again. Alimony hike. I'll be broke." I overheard the call on speaker, Sarah pacing our living room, the hardwood floors creaking under her anxious steps. "Calm down, Ty. We'll figure it out." The nickname grated, fueling suspicions. That night, as we dined on takeout, she confided, "Tyler's always been a mess. Remember that time in college?" Her voice trailed, eyes distant. Dialogue revealed cracks. Hints of a past fling suppressed for our sake. Tension mounted. Did she regret choosing me? Lena's turn came subtly. An old police report from her theft days, emailed to her boss under a pseudonym. She quit the next day, vanishing into silence. The group chat exploded. Mia ranting about sabotage, Tyler cursing enemies, Sarah trying to soothe. "This is weird," she murmured to me in bed, her body curled against mine. Like someone's targeting them. My pulse quickened, fear of discovery mingling with obsession. Inner conflict peaked. Was I the villain now? Moral grayness blurred lines. I justified it as payback, but the glee in their suffering felt dark, addictive. As the web tightened, Sarah grew distant, her laughs forced, touches hesitant. One evening, in our dimly lit kitchen, the air thick with the scent of burnt toast, she confronted me. "Alex, you've been off since that dinner." Her eyes searched mine, vulnerable yet probing. "Are you mad at me?" Suppressed rage boiled over, but I held it. Why would I be? It was just a joke, right? The words dripped sarcasm, heightening suspense. She faltered, admitting, "I should have stopped them." But Mia said it was tradition, testing the groom. I didn't think it'd hurt. Tradition. The revelation twisted the knife. Betrayal not accidental, but orchestrated. That confession ignited the final phase. I delved deeper, hacking into old emails. Nothing felonious, just forgotten passwords she'd shared. There buried. Messages from Tyler pre-engagement, urging her to milk the tech guy. Mia's encouragements. "He's your ticket out." Heartbreak shattered me anew. Tears blurring my vision in the glow of the screen. Obsession consumed. Revenge now personal, surgical. The climax built over a weekend getaway Sarah planned. To reconnect. A cabin in the woods. Mist-shrouded trees whispering secrets. As we drove, fog rolling in like doubt, she chatted nervously. "Let's forget everything. Just us." But I saw the manipulation. Her friend's crises conveniently timed to draw sympathy, perhaps funds. At the cabin, fire crackling in the hearth, textures of rough wood and wool blankets grounding the scene, I laid the trap. Over wine I confessed my own troubles. A work scandal, finances tanking. Her reaction. Not support but calculation. We can fix this. Borrow from your 401k. Cold resolve solidified. That night as she slept I sent the emails, from her account forged subtly. To Mia, admitting she'd fabricated the sponsor complaint for laughs. To Tyler, revealing their old affair. To Lena, blaming her for the group's woes. Chaos ensued by morning. Phones buzzing with accusations. The drive back was silent, tension thick as the gathering storm. Sarah's face paled as calls poured in. "What the hell, Sarah? You did this!" Mia shrieked over speaker. Betrayal reversed, her world crumbling. Home confrontation erupted. "It was you," she whispered, eyes wide with shock. "Why?" My voice broke, raw emotion spilling. "Because you let them humiliate me. Because you used me." Dialogue peaked, natural and piercing. Her denials, my accusations, suppressed rage exploding. In the twist, as she stormed out, bag in hand, I revealed the final card. Evidence of her embezzling from her job. Funds funneled to her friends. Poetic justice. She'd lose everything, just as I'd nearly done. But unexpected consequences hit. Guilt crashing like waves. Was this victory? Or mutual destruction? Alone in the empty apartment, echoes of our life mocking me, I stared at the ring she'd left behind. Revenge tasted bitter, the pursuit ending not in triumph, but hollow resolve. The betrayal avenged, but at what cost?